Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today I'm with a very special guest, the one and only BoatHouse.
What's up? What's up? What's up? How you doing, Blake?
Pew, pew, pew. Bro, I didn't realize until I interviewed Mother Nature that I've been a fan of your work for about a year.
Oh, no way.
It's pretty cool because before the pandemic, it must have been because the pandemic started in like March for when there was like the lockdowns.
Right.
You and Closed Sessions dropped the Closed Sessions and BoatHouse EP somewhere before the pandemic, but it was in 2020, I think.
Yeah, was it? I think it might have been late 2019, maybe. I know I got it on my Spotify here somewhere, but yeah, it was somewhere around there.
Because I remember it was crazy because
Early 2020, maybe?
I think it was early 2020.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to it because I'm always on like hip hop blogs, and like your guys' album was like spotlighted on a hip hop blog. And I was like, oh shit, let me check this out. Highly enjoyed it, but I was asking people about it. I was like, have you checked out the new Closed Sessions EP?
Yeah.
And I didn't know if Closed Sessions was a record label at that time or if it was a person or a producer. I didn't know if you had collab with Closed Sessions as a producer and they were a producer too. I had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
So I was just telling people, have you guys checked this out? Have you checked this out? And like no one knew what it was. And then I realized Dave B was on it also. And I was like, oh shit, Dave B's from Seattle. Seattle artists must have checked this out. Like I knew no one who had checked out the project in Seattle at least. I was like, well, I'll just listen to it on my own. And then I kind of forgot about the project, but I had like some of the songs in my like playlists, but I forgot about BoatHouse, like forgot about Closed Sessions, and then Mother Nature was like, oh yeah, we're signed to Closed Sessions. I was like, oh shit. So that's how I was introduced to you.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah, dude, me and Closed Sessions have been working together for a while now. I want to say close to like 6 or 7 years, and I guess it's easier to refer to it as a label.
Okay.
But it's like more of a management kind of like a management kind of a thing. So Alex Fruchter, DJ RTC, he's one of my managers, and then Michael Kolar is my other one, and they both run Closed Sessions.
Okay.
Mike does more of the studio stuff, so all the mixing and all that comes with the projects that we put out is pretty much handled by Mike. And then he's like planned tours and stuff that we've been on and stuff like that too. So he kind of holds that down. And then Alex is really like, I guess, El Prez, he's like the president of the whole thing. So it's easy to refer to it as a management thing, but it's more like, yeah, like a or a label, but it's more like management and kind of a place for artists to sort of find their voice.
Yeah.
Provide resources. Yeah.
We have that in Seattle too. I just went through like their whole roster basically. There's this little management record label thing. I don't want to call it little. It's a management record label deal called Day One Entertainment, and it was a cool ass thing. Like one of their artists, Campana, he just released this project that was like the soundtrack for the short film, and like he rented out like a movie theater and like had like a showing for it.
Oh, dope!
It was dope, but I feel like none of these are just like popping out of nowhere. Like anyone that has these like independent management record labels, it's almost like they start out as one and figure out they can be both at the same time. But it seems like anything that's formed like that has been like a long time coming. Like I forget, there was this I interviewed this artist out of Oregon, this guy named like Mike Bogan, and he was signed to like a similar deal. And then I was looking at your previous like written interviews because I forgot those were a thing, honestly.
Yeah, I know, right?
Do people read those? I feel like people are just more into like audio or video, but
I know I am. I mean, yeah, me for sure. Video, please.
Yes. And like Closed Sessions was interviewing you
right
while you were like coming aboard as an actual producer. So that was interesting to see that Closed Sessions had been around since when you were assigned, like that was back in 2016.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was like, I just heard of Closed Sessions in 2020. So I was like, that's wild. It's been around for that long already, like 5 years.
Yeah, dude. I mean, even longer than that. It's kind of taken different shapes over time. But Yeah, it's gone through a bunch of iterations, and we've had, other artists come and go and be a part of the squad for a while and then move on to do other things. But for me, I was there working in the studio as an intern and going to school. And really, the ultimate goal is always to be a producer and make music, using the studio work as kind of a way to sort of, I guess, get my foot in the door.
Hmm.
And it pretty much did exactly that. And I've just stayed over there. It's got all the resources that I need to kind of keep going and keep experimenting and that sort of thing.
Is that like a classic way on how to become like a producer, like intern, or is that kind of
Um, well, I mean, like the internship wasn't necessarily an internship uh, to become a producer. It was a studio internship to become an engineer.
mm,
So that's another thing that I do is I record and mix and master, which lends itself a lot to production work, especially when you're in the studio with an artist and you're making a beat or whatever, they're writing, and then when it comes time to record, it's like all I need to do is be like, okay, cool, let me go set the mic up for you, and then boom, we're recording like seamlessly. But I think it's one of the ways that people get their foot in the door. I
mm.
mean, you hear stories of just people just showing up places like studios or being around artists and just like making themselves useful. And I think that's kind of what I saw as my opening. Is just let me just be here, um, make myself useful, not be like not overextend myself or overstay my welcome per se, but what needs to be done at the studio? Can I do it? Can I, take the trash out? Can I dust the board, put the mic away, wrap cables, and then in free time, I can use that space. Michael Kolar, who owns the studio, he would open that up to me
Wow.
after intern work was done. Hey, no one's in here today, so why don't you go ahead? If you want to make beats, go ahead and make beats.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, 24 at the time, and I'm making beats on my KRK monitors at home. Shouts out to them. But like, you get in front of like a $10,000 like studio setup. It's just like a whole different machine, and definitely inspiring for a young kid too. So
Like a kid in a
yeah.
candy shop.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Still am.
Yes.
Mhm.
Wait, so how old were you when you first got the internship? I thought it was like 20 or something.
I think I must have been like 22 or 23,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah, I lose tracks like of all that stuff. I wish I was talking to my manager Alex the other day and just saying like I wish I would have kept like a journal or something
Hmm.
like through all this stuff. But yeah, it was like I think about early 20s, 23.
And how did that feel? Did it feel like it came at the right time? Were you ever feeling like getting out of high school, whether you're in college or not, 18 to 23, I feel like you almost feel like you're like in limbo at times. Did you feel like you were in limbo at all, or were you happy with things happening at that rate?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I think it's exactly what I needed. I was still going to school. I was going to Columbia College in the city here. And I was getting what I needed from school. Like, I think in hindsight, I can say I was getting what I needed at the time. But um, at at the moment, I was just like, let me get in the studio. I just need to get in the studio. I'm learning what I need to learn at school, but I don't enjoy the like school process. Um, and I think it really did come at a right time for me. And I had the mindset at the time too, where it's like this is where I want to be, so I'll do whatever I can to stick around. And there was like another intern there at the time too, so we're kind of like sort of competing for like I guess a job that like may or may not exist. There might not be room for another engineer.
Wow.
But I'm just like, this is where I want to be. Soundscape Studios in Chicago and Closed Sessions, like they're right on top of each other where I was interning. So that's like where Chance and all the Save Money guys like were making music at the time, or like right before I kind of showed up. So they would still be sort of in and out. So I knew that this place had like a legacy, and I wanted to be a part of it, or I wanted to just be around that. And it did come at the right time. But I'm looking back at it. I'm 23, I'm broke, and like it's just like it's a weird time. It's very weird, but I was ready to like I was hungry and like really ready for the grind, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were born and raised in Chicago, by the way, or?
I was born in Chicago, but I grew up in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, which is right outside Minneapolis.
So how'd you get back into Chicago then?
Well, school for the most
Okay.
part, but my aunt and uncle, my mom's sister, they live out here,
Awesome.
and so I was coming to Chicago like a couple times a year, anyways, as a kid growing up.
And were you going to school for music, or what were you going to school for?
Yeah, I just actually saw that you had Noah Sims on. I
Yeah,
listened
yeah.
to that episode, and he was going to Columbia for, I think he said audio design and production, and that's the same thing I went for.
Oh shoot.
Mm-hmm.
What is
So
that
yeah,
school? Is
engineering.
that school just focused on? It's like a music school. So if people say that, is that?
It's like an art school. It's like you can do music, like classically trained like musicians go there, but there's also like video game design and theater and all types of like just pretty much like technological arts.
Wow.
Um, but for me, yeah, it was studio recording and engineering.
Wait.
Learn
So
how to
is it?
mix.
Do you think it's harder to become like a well-known producer if you don't go to school? Like, for do you get
Hmm.
more connections through going to school to become a producer or an audio engineer? Or?
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm sure some people would say that yes, like that you do kind of gain a lot from it, and it's easier to kind of get in there. But I think it's just like you got to just want it like anything, and like if I didn't go to school, it's hard to. I think about this sometimes because I look back on like going to school and like paying for college and with like a weird lens where like I don't know if it was worth it sometimes, and I don't know if I don't think I really enjoyed it a lot
Mm.
of the time, but also it gave me a lot now that I'm realizing, like a lot of fundamentals and like um, even the times where I would be like some of those teachers there, like shouts out to Columbia and all that. I mean, it gave me a lot, but like some of the teachers, especially in like the audio side of things, they tend to be from a different generation, I guess, let's say. And
Mm.
I had a couple of them kind of talk down on sort of what I was doing with working at a studio that primarily uh, records hip hop music as kind of an issue.
Oh,
They're like,
okay.
they're like, go to another studio that does like bands, learn how to record if you want to record. And it's like, I'm not really trying to like be a recording engineer like as my job. I would like to be able to do that, but I'm trying to like make music and produce.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I kind of went off on a tangent a little bit, but
And that's funny though. Like people
yeah,
at the art school are shitting on hip hop. That's funny.
it's weird, man. It was a weird thing, but fast forward to like the same studio that like some people were shitting on. It's like that same person was asking one of us that was working there, like, I would love to come check out the studio one day. Like they seem to be hiring a ton of our students, and it's like, yeah, like it's a legit studio. It's
Yeah.
not just like a bedroom with like a sock over the mic.
Is Chicago a hip hop city, do you think?
I would say so. It's a music city, blues and stuff and house music especially. Um, but yeah, I mean, a hip hop city for sure. You got like Crucial Conflict is from here, man. That's like a OG hip hop group from out of here. That's it's huge back in the day. And Twista, Kanye, Common.
Yes.
It's the list really goes on, and I think a lot of the world. Um, I think you can trace back certain popular sounds right now in music in general, right back to Chicago in some way. I think you can easily draw a line.
What is the sound in Chicago?
I think it changes. Like I think it evolves, and that's why it becomes the sound of everywhere a lot. I mean, I think right now you have kind of more, I guess, like post selection kind of sounding beats a lot of the times. You got like Smino and Monty Booker are from out here.
Yes.
I mean, Smino is from St. Louis, but like they operate out here, and they're kind of like driving us down. You got Saba and you got us at Closed Sessions, where I think we're kind of more, maybe a little bit more kind of sort of reminiscent of sort of like the old school hip hop kind of vibe a lot of the times.
Who's signed to closed sessions? Like besides like Mother Nature, is when you guys had like Dave B and Kemba on it, those
Mm-hmm.
two aren't signed to Closed Session. Were they just features or?
Yeah. So they're not signed. They're in town, but basically they were in town at the time. But basically, what we were doing is closed sessions really started with Alex and Mike doing these studio sessions where they'd have artists come in from out of town and they'd rap at a party that Alex would be DJing at in the DJ booth next to
Oh,
them. Yeah, so like Freddie Gibbs and Action Bronson, like back in the day, when they were kind of coming up, they'd show up to Chicago, they'd rap in the DJ booth at a party, and then take it back to the studio and like lay some songs that they'd put out on the label. So basically, what we were doing was like a reincarnation of that with that project, the our latest compilation, where Dave B would come to Chicago, we'd throw a show, and like he'd perform at the show. We'd go to the studio and we'd lock in with me and make some beats, record some music. Same with Kemba. Kemba did a show and then come back to the studio, same thing. So it was kind of like this newer version of that where these guys were coming in from out of town performing, and then the next day, hey, let's hit the studio, and we're there all day just getting a song.
wow. That's
Yeah.
dope. That's see, I'm trying to create things similar to that and here in Seattle, because so many people love touring to Seattle for some reason. Like
Yeah.
people will say that's like one of their top places to tour, whether like they want to start there or they want to end there. Like a big artist never want to be like in the middle. They want to start or end there, which is kind of cool. Like Tyler, he's
Right.
we have a new. I was just telling our intern, shout out Oli. Tyler the Creator, his last show, he's because he just announced his tour is going to be at Climate Pledge Arena, which used to be Key Arena. It's in the Seattle Center next to like the Space Needle and all that, and they've been doing like construction on it like this entire pandemic. So
Gotcha.
it's crazy to see like people are like that's like a place like Kanye or Drake would like perform at, or like Justin Bieber when he
Yeah.
first came out. Like people would like freak out over when he was like,
Dang, that's so dope that Tyler's at arena status now. That's so cool.
yeah, it's
Crazy.
it's so cool to see like how people like evolve and mature, and I feel like you can tell when someone's gonna like tour and it's gonna be, I don't know. I feel like there's like you can tell if someone's touring is gonna be successful versus, or like how you were saying, you guys could kind of see that like if Freddie Gibbs was gonna like blow up and you like
Right.
worked with him. There's just like some energy they bring versus just someone that's just coming through town versus someone that is gonna make shit happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, and it's like it really is a gamble sometimes to be like, oh, this guy or this person is going to be huge. But I think what it really comes down to is like, I'm a fan of this person at this point.
Yeah.
I remember being in high school and getting like the double XL freshman cover with like Freddie Gibbs on it,
Yeah.
and just downloading all those mixtapes and being like, dang, Freddie Gibbs is sick. I like this guy. And then cut to now, Pitchfork and Lollapalooza and like all this stuff. Even like Dave B. I mean, just
Ooh.
being in the studio with him was like, we had like a really good connection in the studio. And I didn't even really know too much about him going into it, but I liked his sound. And just like what I was telling you, he does a show, comes back to the studio the next day, and we lock in and make a song. We locked in. It was like such a good connection. We locked in for like 2 days, just back to back, 10-hour days, 10+ hours each day in the studio. And I think we made like 5 songs.
Oh shit.
And then like one of those, that one that's on the project was like, yeah, we'll put that on the project.
And what is that? It's not called Whiskey. It's like the second or third song on the project. What is it called again?
It's called $100 Bills.
$100 Bills.
Yeah. I love that song, and he was just really cool, man. And his manager was Sam, was awesome, and it was just them two in the studio. We were just vibing for 2 days.
Wow.
It's great. Yeah.
So at this point, is it more that people just know who you are, or do you use the fact that you're part of closed sessions for people to work with you? Like, what is like the trade-off, or like how does it weigh out?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't. I think I have a decent kind of outreach locally more than anything right now, and I think it's grown exponentially since like the Mother Nature project and stuff like that, and this closed sessions project. But a lot of the times, yeah, I mean, it's all about the team. Like closed sessions really kind of alley oops a lot of stuff to me, and me being the in-house producer over there, I'm catching every single one of them and trying to dunk it because, like, they'll be like, "Yo, so and so is in town, and they want to come to the studio. Want you got any beats for this guy? You got any beats for that guy? Whatever." And I'm just down for the work. Like,
Right.
I try to never lose sight of that I'm just, I can't say no to things in terms of like make a song with someone, big or small artists, really. I think it's only going to benefit me as a producer. And that's like really one of the benefits of being a producer, because, rappers kind of, I think rappers or artists, vocalists work on an album or work towards an album or something like that. But me, I can have my hand like in everything, and that's how I want to be. Is you come to me for a certain thing and I'll work with you, and then at the same time I can be working on something over there, like.
So
yeah.
are you tapped in locally? So if there's like a artist that maybe only has like 300 followers and he hits you up, what are the chances of someone from Chicago with like no following?
I mean, let's lock in. It isn't anything to lock in at the studio. Let's see what happens. It literally, like, that is all I do. I don't have a job with a boss. Like, I make my own schedule. I record people at the studio as kind of my side job, but yeah, if I have free time and you're like, hey, yo, this is my stuff, check it out, or some smaller artists, and you want to just lock in and see how it goes, let's do it. It's nothing to spend that time for me. And I'm pretty quick when it comes to like making a beat in front of somebody.
Oh, that's dope.
Which is something that I've like really worked hard to get to that point. I never thought that I would be able to like sit in front of someone and like make a beat, but I'm pretty fast now. And yeah, let's go. Like, if nothing comes from it, then it's not even time wasted. It's just like a workout,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's dope. Like, you're doing what you love, and that's the most important part, right?
It is. Yeah, absolutely, man. For sure.
So who are your favorite artists you've worked with? Because you've worked with some pretty dope artists.
I mean, Mother Nature is like, I think the process of like making seasons with them was like so seamless and easy. And they're just like two genuinely great people. And going back to what you said about like, having someone on the come up, like investing into them, and then later seeing that, knowing that they have a vibe around them that's going to take them somewhere. Like, I feel that way with them all the way. Like, I think they just got what it takes. But yeah, I mean, putting that project together was like, I think a really important thing for me. But my guy, Johnny Jones from Chicago, we have a great like studio relationship and like musical relationship and just a friendship overall. Or we just, it again, is nothing to get in with him and just like, let's make something, see what happens.
Right.
I'm trying to think in terms of like bigger. Dave B is definitely on that list because that was just such a fun session. Bun B.
Oh, that was a dope song. I forget, what was the name of that song again?
Suckers. Suckers. Yeah.
I
mean, that one was just crazy. Like, that's just like, anytime you get like a voice like that, like that's so familiar and so legendary, like, and you hear it on like something you made, it's just like, you're like, I'm taken back to being like a teenager, like, and like figuring out how to make beats again and falling in love with that process. So yeah, I think those are some of my tops right now.
So
for
for like a producer, is it harder for a producer to blow up like where like they have genuine fans versus having like genuine artists that want to work with them? Because I feel like a lot of the times producers are kind of behind the scenes, and I don't know if it's that recent, but it seems like it's more recent that producers have like actual tags that they shout out in songs.
Right. I think I don't know. I think it's like a slower process sometimes. I guess it's hard for me to say though, because I can't speak on what it's like to be a rapper. I I don't make music with my voice like that. But I think in recent memory, like in recent times, it's become easier for a producer to market themselves. I think SoundCloud had like a major thing to do with that, with like, the selection people and all that, and just people being like, dang, this is like a dope beat. Like, I'm going to put this in my likes, and now I'm going to follow like this random producer on SoundCloud who you don't even know their face, but they have like 30,000 followers or whatever. And I mean, the tag is important too, like you got to have like some type of way to, I guess, protect like your sounds, like, because you never know. Sometimes, I mean, beats could go everywhere. Like you're not really in control of where things end up sometimes, unless it's sitting on your hard drive, collecting dust in the digital space like that, then you have control over it. But once you put something online, like it could get ripped, it could, I mean, it could go anywhere. So you have that tag on there at least to like, they could cut around it a lot of the times. People cut around the tag. But yeah, it's another thing of like, branding yourself and just letting people know this is a BoatHouse beat or a murder beat, like something like that.
How did you get your beat? It's like a girl's name, BoatHouse or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's from Gossip Girl, the show Gossip Girl.
Okay.
I ripped it from a scene. I was just like looking. I've watched all the seasons of Gossip Girl. A little low key fact about me.
Didn't they just come out like a new series of Gossip Girl too?
Haven't seen that, but all the OG Gossip Girl, I've seen all that. I don't even know why I watched all that, but I have. Like looking back, I don't think I remember too much of it. But yeah, it's what's her name? It's the girl who plays Serena, Blake Lively. It's her voice on like the phone, and she just like says BoatHouse in like a whole sentence, and I just chopped around it.
Oh wow!
It sounded, yeah.
Wait, how did you even get your name? First of all.
Oh, that's a good question too. It's kind of I guess a little bit of a long story as well, but there's a couple different reasons. Like I like the picture that it, like the image it kind of brings to my mind of like just a lake and a boat on the lake, or a boathouse on the lake. I've been around water growing up in Minnesota, 10,000 lakes and all that, so I like the image that it brings to mind. But really how like the actual name came about is me and my friend Jack in high school. We were like designing t-shirts for a little bit and just like trying to like, mess around with that design and printing shirts and selling them or whatever. And we were always talking about like brand names and like throwing around cool brand names, whatever. And I'm making beats at the time and just learning. And he said something about BoatHouse is like a cool brand name. That'd be like a cool name for like a t-shirt brand. I'm like, oh yeah, that's dope. And he goes, you should just take that as like your producer name. That's a pretty cool name for a producer too. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Let's change it. And I just like, changed my SoundCloud and like, whatever it was at the time, but it just stuck. And I think over time it's kind of gotten this meaning of like, I like to make all different types of music, whatever I like. I don't really put myself in like one box of like, I only make this type of music. And one could say it's like a floating home, floating around the water and kind of like landing wherever it lands, just changing sound. So I like that too, because that just kind of doubles down on the imagery that it brings to my mind.
And there's also houseboats.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people think BoatHouse means houseboat,
but they don't. I just realized that recently too, because so the studio that we're at right now, me and Oli, it's in this area in Seattle, North Seattle, called Green Lake, and there's all these really cool parks, and like one of my favorite foods is like poke or sushi. So I get my poke or my sushi and I go to this park. I always forget the name of the park and I always have to look it up on Google Maps. I can't even think I have no idea what the name of it, but it's a really cool park. And like if I ever see like the image like on Google, I'm like, that's the one. It's really cool looking. And like it's on the lake and across, so the park's right here, the lake, and then on the other side there's just rows of houseboats.
BoatHouse a boathouse is like where you park your boat,
Yes.
and then a houseboat is you live on the water in a like houseboat. You know, like it
Yeah.
floats around. It's like a boat that
Have
you
you
live
been in a boathouse?
I think so. I mean, yeah. There's like, dude, there's boathouses everywhere. There's tons of them in Chicago too. Like, there's like restaurants called Boathouse, and they're right on like the lake and different parks out here. All the time, I get friends like text me a picture of like a boathouse with like a sign or something. It says it, and they're like, "Hey, check
Oh
it
wow,
out. It's you." You know?
that's funny.
Yeah.
So how many artists have you locked in for like albums, whether they're out or not?
Well, this is kind of, I guess, like a new thing that I'm like finally getting into. I
Oh wow.
wanted to like produce full albums for people, but with the Mother Nature thing, it really kind of like, jump started me a little bit to be like, yeah, do more of this, like do more entire project, whole sound kind of stuff. And right now, I'm working on something with an artist called Defsy from out here. He's just like a really incredible rapper, and it's a lot of the stuff that I like really like to ride around to, like Rock Marciano
Okay.
and like Raekwon and kind of just like older sample based Alchemist type vibes,
Yeah.
and it's really, it feels like more natural making something like that I'm really like into like this on this level. So that's what I'm working on right now with him, and that should be out, hopefully I think beginning of next year or something. But um yeah, I don't know where to go next. It always just kind of presents itself. Like there was no plan on a follow up to what I'm going to be doing next after the Mother Nature thing, or after even the compilation with Closed Sessions. It was just like they always seem to present themselves if I keep just like making beats. And it was kind of a really great time to link with Defsy because we've known each other for years and years, and made music here and there, but he's kind of at a point where he's starting to get kind of like recognized a little bit in the scene out here, and I think I am kind of too. And it was kind of like a moment where we can like, okay, this is perfect. He's also about to have like a child soon, and
Oh
so we
wow.
were trying to like get this in before he becomes like he's on dad mode for a while, so yeah, it was just like a really good timing to kind of just finally lock in with him. And again, it's like just quick turnaround of like how we're making these songs. Come to the studio, or I sent him beats right away, and I was like, take your pick from some of these, let's see where we're going. He picked, like, I sent him maybe like 7 to start, and he picked I think maybe like 1 or 2 out of that first batch, and then I sent him like 7 more. He picked 1 more, and then we just linked up and just started knocking stuff out.
Wow.
Record those ones, make new songs, and yeah, I just, the process of it is like getting easier the longer I've been in the game, and I like that about it, because when I sit down to make something, I want to make something. I don't want
Right.
to sit there and figure it out. I want to just like go. I want to hear something as soon as possible.
Do you have like any aspirations to have like a protege or like an artist that you've been waiting for to just work with and like help build up through your beats? And
I mean, it's hard to look at that as like a protege, I guess, but like
maybe not a
so
protege, but like
so
maybe.
many like friends, that are like just dope, and all creating on their own too. To link with those type of people is always the best. That's kind of how it is with like Defsy a little bit. It's just what I was saying about perfect timing and knowing each other, and kind of watching us both sort of elevate to a certain point.
Mhm.
Still so far to go, but like, oh, it's perfect timing. Let's do this now. This is great. You
So when
know.
you first started, was it all just through like friends, or was it through interning? Like, how did you first find like your first artist to like produce for that actually made some type of noise?
Dang, I don't know, man. That's crazy. That's like I'm trying to think of like what the first thing that I like made with someone and like put out was. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you remember like Raider Clan at all?
Dude, I just had fucking Kiniyata on.
Oh, dope. Okay, awesome. So here's a little quick Raider Clan story, right?
Ooh.
Um, so I was like 16 when I started making beats, right? And I have like an MPC 2000 XL, and that's what I thought you make beats on. I knew that there was like Fruity Loops and stuff at the times, but like I had no idea that like I thought it was all hardware. I'm watching YouTube videos
Wow.
of Kanye in the studio on an MPC, and I'm like, that's how you make beats. I got to get one of those if I want to learn. So I bought one, right? And
Probably
I'm
set you
like,
back a few bucks, huh?
a bit, yeah. I mean, I think they're more expensive now, but like at the time, yeah, it definitely as a high schooler, it was a couple paychecks or whatever, and maybe a little bit of like, hey, mom and dad, I'll go, 3/4 of this in if you pay for the last little bit. But like, um, yeah. So I was like making beats, and like, looking back, they're just like so garbage. But like, I made this one, and like I was like a really big. It was like right when ASAP Rocky popped, and he's like really cool with like Space Ghost Perp, and it was like that era.
Yeah.
It's like all that stuff. And there's a guy in Raider Clan named Young Simi,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and I found his email, and I sent him this beat, and he hit me back, and he's like, "This is hard," and like he put up like just like this freestyle on SoundCloud of it, and it's like the first time that anyone that I was so geeked up about it, dude. Like, and like my friends at school who we all listen to, Raider Clan stuff, they're like, "Yo, this is crazy," but like I was so geeked up about it, and like it's just like kind of it's a freestyle. It's like got some silly bars in it. It's a great moment. Shouts out to Young Simi. It was awesome for me. But like, you know, I think that was like the first. That was like the first at the time what I felt was like big artist to like get on something of mine.
Damn.
Oh yeah, that was kind of a silly moment, man. But it's cool to look back at that. Yeah,
That's awesome. Isn't he going on tour with IDK right now?
he might be. I don't know.
I think it's. Let me just look real quick. I'm pretty sure it's like Young Simi, IDK,
That'd be dope. It's good
Amir
to know he's still out
Van,
here.
and Rico Nasty. That's so dope that Rico Nasty and IDK are close.
Dude, IDK is dope, man. He is cool.
I think it's Young Simi. Don't quote me. I don't want to just be on my phone the entire time, but I think it's
Right.
I think it's Young Simi. It's so
I'm like
cool that
looking
people are
too.
going on tour, but at the same time, it's kind of scary.
A little bit, it's just like things are so up in the air right now. It's like
Yeah.
hard to know what the right move is, I think a lot of the times.
Yeah.
I guess fortunately enough I'm not like I don't have to think about touring and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I
Do
guess
do producers tour?
I've toured a ton in the
Oh
past.
shit.
Yeah, I used to, but I also DJ, and
Okay.
so I toured with Alex Wiley when I was like around the time I was like an intern at the studio, and Kwaku Collins is another artist that I toured with.
You have that. I really don't know whose project it is. It's I listened to it, but I don't know if it's yours or whose. But the Szechuan.
Oh yeah. That's yeah, that was like a closed sessions kind of a thing. It was when
Okay.
me, this producer Odd Couple, and Kwaku Collins were all on the label at the same time, and we just kind of we were in the studio all the time together, and just kind of like made a little mini project real quick of like me and Kwaku on a song, my song, Odd Couple's song, Odd Couple and Kwaku, and then just a Kwaku song. So it was like we all kind of got a little sort of like shine that way. But yeah,
Is Odd Couple from Chicago as well?
he's from Milwaukee. Yeah,
Okay.
he's from Milwaukee originally, but yeah, he's out here for sure.
That's crazy. Like I've been tapped into these artists since I was like a little kid, and I
Yeah,
just
man.
didn't know. Like
There you
there's
go.
this one. I think it's like called like Chatterbox or something. The Odd
Yeah,
Couple.
that's his first album.
Dude, that shit blew me away. Like
Yeah,
I'll
yeah. He
show
was
people that occasionally, and they'll be like, "Dude, did this just come out or something? This is dope."
yeah, no, it's solid. And that's like he's got that kind of like he was good at getting different artists in the studio, at that time, especially people who were kind of like on the come up and in the scene and making that album. So he's got that ear to like be like an actual like producer making albums with different artists,
Mhm.
producer albums, I guess is what you would call them.
Wait, so is Chicago like a scene that people feel like they have to tap into? I haven't really thought about Chicago. I know it's a music scene, but I haven't really thought of it as like a. I'm always telling people we can be like in Seattle, like we can be the next LA, we can be the next Atlanta.
Right.
But like, is Chicago like actually up there? Do you feel that? Like, do people check
I
in with
do.
it? Wow.
Yeah, I think so, man. I mean, like, and look at like the past like 10 years and the artists that kind of like are huge now. A lot of them are from Chicago or like had some type of say in the way the music industry was going to shift.
Yeah.
Those artists are from Chicago. Chief Keef, like when he was like blowing up, dude, that was everyone wanted a piece of Chief Keef, bro. Like that's all Chicago, man. That's all
Wow.
Chicago. Or like Dirk, Little Dirk's from Chicago,
Yeah.
Um, yeah, dude. I mean, it's one of those scenes that's like, I think, I don't know if this is true or not, but like LA is like, it's almost like you have to go to LA at a certain point to get to, as you're kind of a growing artist to like work out there and meet the people and shake the hands of like, label people or whatever you're, if that's what you're trying to do.
Hmm.
But it's like Chicago is just like, and then when you want to come back and like lock in on like your music or figure out your sound or something like that, I feel like this is the place where just artists just figure out their voice.
Wow. Do you know who the band like the Oh My's are by any chance?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
See, that's so wild. I've been. Are they from Chicago or no?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What the
Yeah, definitely.
hell? I've been listening to Chicago music for years, and I
Dude, I'm
always
saying
try to.
you're tapped in, bro. You're tapped in. You don't even know it, man.
That is wild. But I
Yep.
always tell people about these artists, and no one knows who the fuck they are.
Right.
Like, dude, the Oh My's are like my favorite band of all time, and
Yeah. Incredibly talented people.
they just
Incredibly talented.
oh my god, see that's like one of my dream interviews. I don't even know if they're that crazy big, but I feel like they're hard to reach, and they're really connected. Like their first, I don't know if it was like their second project. They had like GLC and Chance the Rapper,
Yeah.
and then they released a project last year or the year before and had like Saba on it. It was I'm like the Oh My's biggest fan, and they don't even know who I am. But
Dude, you could get in touch with them easy,
I need to
man.
figure out how to. That's Chicago's dope.
Yeah, man. Very dope.
So, how did you feel about was is it? I think I pronounced it wrong. Is it Lollapalooza or Lollapalooza?
You got it. First time, yeah.
Okay.
Lollapalooza.
How
Mhm.
did you feel about that? I was talking to I was talking. Oh my gosh, I just blanked on their names. I forget who I was talking to. I was talking to this one artist, Rents from Seattle. He performed at Lollapalooza, and I was talking to other people that were kind of thinking about going to Lollapalooza, and then I was talking to some Chicago artists that were kind of skeptical about Lollapalooza and like how that might affect COVID. Like, how did you feel about Lollapalooza
Um,
happening in Chicago?
I mean, Lollapalooza is always kind of like an interesting time in the city, like even without a global pandemic. But like, um, it's like you get a lot of like out of towners and like young kids who don't really have any regard for like the city.
Mm.
Um, and so that's always going to be kind of like a nuisance, I'll say. And it's an expensive festival to go to, so it's kind of limiting it's limiting with who may want to go but can't afford to go.
Okay.
So you get a lot of like kind of uh, just interesting white kids there causing a ruckus. But like, um, but yeah, I mean, with like COVID, dude, it's like I think it's kind of a silly move to have it. But I understand, like, I guess the city being like we kind of need to have Lollapalooza, like or we
um,
want to have it, but I don't know. I mean, like I think it's Lollapalooza is great for up and coming artists too, though. Like the person you were just talking about from Seattle, right?
yeah, Rents is dope.
Yeah, like performing at Lollapalooza, dude, that is a huge moment. Like that's a huge moment, and if that wasn't happening this year, that might not have happened for them.
True.
Um, Me and Kwaku Collins, one of the other artists that I was DJing for a while, we did Lollapalooza in 2017, and it was like, you know, we were like 1 p.m. on like the Pepsi stage, which is like, it's like the same stage as like that, like Uzi closed out that night and like K Tronado was on that
Oh
one.
wow.
We had like the first set of the day, the afternoon, like on this stage. And it was like a like super like incredible moment. Like it was like unforgettable. I can't believe we're playing Lollapalooza, you know? So I think, you know, it might be not the best idea with the pandemic going on to have it, but like, what can you do, man? What can you do? I'm vaccinated. I know if I was there, I didn't go, but like, I know if I was there, I'd, you know, probably have my mask on or like maybe I'm not in the crowd anyways. Like in general, I don't like to be like smushed up against people. So
Right.
I'm out of the fray as much as possible. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird, man. Probably not the best move, but whatever.
We'll see.
Yeah.
That's
Give it
a
2 weeks. We'll see.
Oh man. So how has COVID affected like your producing? Has it just stayed the same? Were you able to go to the studio at the beginning of the pandemic, or how did it work out for you?
It was tricky at the top of the pandemic. You know, everything shut down, and everyone kind of thought, you know, this is like, oh, I'll give you 2 weeks, we'll be back open. We're just gonna shut down for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and then 2 weeks is a month and a half, and then, you know, cut to a year later. But like at the top of it, the studio shut down, closed up, which is like one of my main sources of income, you know, and so that was kind of tough at the time, but you know, had some savings I could fall back on. Fortunately enough for me, and I live with my girlfriend, and she had some savings, so we were okay. Um, and I just, you know, it was like beginning of the pandemic was like so interesting. It's so interesting to look back on, and I say all of this like, you know, completely aware that like people died and like lives were changed forever, you know, but like um it almost felt like before everything got crazy with George Floyd and all that there was a sense of like, we're going to lock it down and we're all going to be cool, you know, we're going to be fine. Before everything got politicized with the masks and stuff, it was like kind of a nice feeling in the air. It's like, oh yeah, you know, Tiger King,
Yeah.
whatever, like put the Netflix on, all that. And as far as producing went, like, I guess for me, man, like it just like allowed me to like get a lot of stuff that was on my plate that shouldn't have been there or like was taking up too much space. Just get that out of here, dude, and like make some space for other stuff. Like we started like a BeatStars store, me and my manager
Oh, dope.
for my beats, and you know, got in contact with a lot of the guys over there, and that was great because that's something I was putting off. Is like, how should I do? I want to sell my beats online, and it was just a perfect time to try that out. And making beats at home has never been more easy during all that because there was really nothing else to do. So, you know, I'd wake up, make some coffee, and like just sit down and make beats all day, and it was kind of a beautiful thing. So I got to at least add to the vault, you know. And
Yes.
then once the studio opened back up and money could be made with certain guidelines and all that, then I was back in the studio. So yeah, I don't know, it's weird. I think a lot of artists will kind of say a similar thing. I think of just like it was nice to just make music.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that
Hmm.
in like a optimistic way, you know, at least. Like
Right.
I think a lot of artists, if they use their time wisely, they learn more about themselves and their music, and a lot of cool stuff came out of it. A lot of cool opportunities came out because you could basically reach out to like almost anyone during the pandemic, and they'd respond because they're all doing the same thing, just chilling at
Yeah.
home for the most part.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was kind of like it was kind of nice to just like hit people up and be like, "Yo, you got a mic at home? Let me send you some beats. I've been working on some stuff." And anything that didn't go that way, I could just put it up on the beat store and see what happened with that, you know? So,
Yeah, do you
yeah.
have any tips for like up and coming producers on how to make money at producing?
Hmm. You know, I guess like it depends on like where you're at in your stage of development, I think. You know, I taught a couple like production classes to at a music school
Oh
over the
wow.
past year. Um to really young kids, a lot of times like 10 years old, stuff like that. And my biggest piece of advice to them when they were learning like how to make beats, they're so eager, and I totally get that eagerness, especially just like thinking back about when I was learning how to make beats, I'm so eager to just like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then I got a beat to Chance the Rapper or whatever, like shooting for the stars here and thinking it's easy. But the biggest piece of advice that I've heard from people and that I try to tell like other people getting into producing is just like, it is okay to suck for a while, and you probably will suck for a while, and you might not think you suck, but when you are better and you look back, you'll be like, dang, I'm so much better than I was. And I can say that personally, and it's just a matter of like, keep pushing through that and just know that if you're patient and you keep working at something, you're going to get better at it, and that goes with all art forms, but as far as making money, I think it's just like, there's more than enough money to go around. And if you know how to DJ, if you know how to engineer, if you know how to print shirts, but what you want to do is be a producer, do that stuff at the same time. It's not like there isn't enough time in the day for you to like, go work at a coffee shop and then like come home and make beats or go to the studio or whatever. So I think at the earliest stages, it's just like, get out here and figure out how you can make some money. And then with the goal in mind of like, I want to be able to stop doing this to make money and shift only to music to make money or something like that.
How long do you think it was for you before you started making money in music?
I mean, I feel like I just started like making a livable wage like 3 years ago, maybe. But like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess like probably like 3-4 years ago.
Wow.
But I think it just gets better. Like it just gets better, and I'm by no means like wealthy or anything, or like I don't really have dough rolling in like that. You still got to work hard, but yeah, I worked at a coffee shop like when I was interning at the studio, and I don't think there's any shame in that. And just like I said, I was teaching like production lessons to like 10-year-olds for like the past year, and I don't know, that's cool too. I remember when I was like 16 and like I would have killed to have like, I guess, a teacher maybe like me now, like talk to me about music the way I would talk to like kids about music, but yeah, you just gotta like keep that goal in mind of like, I would like to do music all the time, and like just know that that's fine and make my own schedule. I don't really like having a boss too much. I don't like requesting days off, and I don't have to do that anymore. I can make my own schedule. I talk to my own clients. I set up sessions with people I want to work with when I want to work with them, and we'll see what comes from that,
And how did you start making money with DJing? Like, what does like a average club look for? Because there's like there's like the beat mixing, and then there's like the scratching. Like, so if there's like an up and coming DJ, what do clubs actually look for? Do they care if you know how to scratch, or do they look more for people that can just make a flowing set, or what is it?
That's a good question. I don't think they really care. I don't think they're really checking for like if you got like skills like that, like technical like turntablism and stuff. When I was like learning how to DJ, I learned to DJ around the same time that I was getting into production. So I'm like 16, and I was really into the history. Like I really was like blown away by hip hop and like DJ Premier and Qbert and the DMC like DJ competitions and all that, and like how these people push the limits of like what a turntable is supposed to do, and really like treating it like an instrument instead of like just this thing that plays music. So that was like where I came from, but I think it's the same as like pop music, it's like sometimes pop music isn't necessarily like the greatest songwriting or the greatest production, but something about these songs is like palatable to the wider audience, which is why they're in the Billboard top whatever every week. And it's DJing, I think, is kind of the same. It's like you have to kind of know that like I might want to play just a whole set of like old Currency mixtapes and like Boldy James, and like that might be what I want to play as a DJ, but like I'm here and there's an entire crowd of people out on Saturday buying drinks and hanging out and wanting to like dance. So like I can't just sit here and play, my favorite Wiz Khalifa song from when I was 19. I gotta play that Olivia Rodrigo song that's going so hammer on the radio, and like I don't even like that song, but it is what it is, because DJing is like DJing at a club for like money, right? Like I DJ twice a week, Fridays and Saturdays, consistently at a bar out here called the Live One. I got the whole back room. It's a little dance floor and it's a lot of fun. And it's just all about like, it's just all about keeping those people energized and like dancing and, buying drinks, I guess, is like kind of like your job description as well. But like, it can be fun and it's like a challenge, and I'm always up for like a challenge like that, where it's like I don't like some of these songs, but these people like these songs, and I want to have a good vibe back here,
Oh wow. So when you want to like play a set you actually like, does that come down to like throwing your own party or doing like a concert then?
It could. I mean, I'll say this. I'll say shouts out to Vans and Channel 66. Their live stream that they got going. I got a pretty good relationship with the people over at House of Vans out here, which is like a skate park and venue space in Chicago.
That's so dope.
They got them all over the place, but they've been doing like live stream DJ sets and bands like over the course of lockdown, which has been great for me because I'll DJ there once a month and it's 2 hours and there's no crowd. It's just like a Twitch, a streaming crowd or whatever. So there's no pressure to have anyone be dancing or anything. And usually I'm DJing at like 10 in the morning too, which is like you're getting up and you're like making breakfast or whatever. So I'll try to like play stuff that's more like in that vein of like, this is the stuff I like to listen to, and I'm going to have a set revolve around this, know? So there's certain places and certain vibes that make that possible. Boiler Room, like the Boiler Room series is one of those. I've done 2 of those, and those sets are always like a little more eclectic, where you don't necessarily need to play popular songs. And if you did play popular songs, that's kind of like not what that's for, It's more for like just like a vibe and like just something else, like you I don't know if you ever watched any of those sets. Have you seen any of those Boiler Rooms?
I actually have not, but I love the DMC stuff. Like I love like DJ Craze and all those guys.
Dude, I mean, you could go back and watch years worth of footage of those competitions, and it's like
talking through the fucking turntables.
Dude, when they diss each other, it's the best. Like DJ battles when they're like cutting up like just like insults at each other, it's the best, dude. It's so sick.
So when you're DJing, do you prefer like instrumentals or do you prefer like having like actual songs? Or
I prefer whole songs, I think. It's fun to figure out how to like transition from song to song and like keep the flow going without disrupting the energy,
Yeah.
But I've done a couple sets too that are just beats of mine, just like a beat set, and like figuring out how that works and how to get creative with that. That's another fun thing to do.
Oh, and what are beat tapes meant for like when you just released a beat tape, I'm pretty sure. Like what is in mind like when a producer releases a beat tape? Do they want people just to enjoy it as it is, or are they looking for artists to be like, oh shit, I really enjoyed this beat tape, I want to hop on one of those songs? Like what's the goal in mind when people release beat tapes?
It could, I mean, like I think that's, for me, I just look at the different possibilities when I release something like that. Let's say best case scenario, right, is I put out like a beat tape and then like some big artist finds it, raps over it, don't even hit me up for it, and then all of a sudden there's like a song that I produced that's like out of nowhere, out of thin air, essentially, is like a big song or something. That could happen. It probably won't, but like my purpose, at least on putting out some of those, or I'm putting out this In Velvet series, I think is what you're talking about, is I make so many beats constantly, and if nothing comes of them, they sit there on the hard drive, And this series is meant more as like, let's just put them out. Let's just put these beats out. They're not spoken for when they go out. It's not like they can't be made into another song with an artist down the line. It's just like, I'm tired of just like producers just sit on music, and they might link with an artist, and that artist might rap over this beat of theirs, and then nothing comes of it. And what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to hit you up and like ask, hey, what's up with that song? Or are you gonna tell me what's up, or what's happening with this? I live in limbo all the time. So
Wow.
if I put these songs out, I'm in control of them. I'm also showcasing people like, this is the vibe I was on at this point, and the next one might be 100% different. The next song I put out might not sound anything like these beats, but this is what I'm on now. This is like a moment in time, I guess, of me as a producer and my sound. And if you're into it and you want to rap on it, have at it. Like the Mother Nature song Goofies with Valet is on my first In Velvet tape, and it's a beat called Cassius.
Okay. Wow.
So that's there. There's a song I did with a Johnny Jones, another friend of mine that just came out. That one's on the first In Velvet. Like, it just.
But did you recommend those songs to those artists, or did they already hear them and then they said they wanted to work on them?
That's another interesting point. Is like I didn't actually, and actually, the Mother Nature song was made before I think we even put that beat tape out. But I knew it was going to come out. But I had played them that beat before I'd even thought about putting out like beat tapes. And then the Ajani song is like we made this song together like 2 years ago, something like that, And we've just made so much music, and also he's a friend. I don't really mind like sitting on stuff for him, and I don't think he minds me playing certain beats for other people if the opportunity arises, But I think the song that just came out of his is called FML. It's a pretty dope song, and I made that beat, and I think it's on In Velvet 1. But yeah, it's just like at the time I wasn't sure if that Ajani song was going to come out, and it's just reclaiming the production. The production's mine, I didn't make this beat with anyone else, so I can put it out. Let's put it out. Why not? And in the meantime, while we're working on whatever album or with whatever artist that's coming next, I always got something that's like, this is what I'm on now, tap in if you want.
Oh, it's almost like a resume in some sorts.
Yeah. Yeah, I just like to think of it as kind of like a time capsule, you know? Yeah.
That's dope. Mm-hmm. So who are like the top 3 most promising artists coming out of Chicago right now?
Dang, that's a good question, man. I mean, up and coming artists coming out of Chicago, I'd say Solo Sam is on the list. Sam. He's so dope. Mother Nature and all the great thinkers, that's their collective. Like they got some incredible talent in that collective. And what else? Ajani for sure. Ajani's just dope and been grinding for so long, man. He's just incredible. But I mean, I don't know. I'm sure I'm like leaving people out of this list, But those, at least the homies, get a little shine for sure.
Hell yeah! And who are 3 artists you want to work with, like dream artists or whoever?
Changes all the time, dude. Evidence from Dilated Peoples is like my favorite artist, favorite rapper, like of all time, and it would be really, really, really dope to like get a beat of mine to him. That would be really cool. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, probably like a year ago or like 2 years ago, I probably would have said like Kanye or whatever. And all it's just like so many artists that it would be amazing to work with these people. But yeah, I don't know. I'm such a fan of like the craft, and I feel like most of the artists I'd want to work with are like producers. Like I just want to be around them. I would love to just like, I'd love to go to like an Alchemist rap camp or something and like see Vince Staples and like Conway and like all these people just kind of like in the room kind of mingling with each other. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Madlib, Freddie Gibbs.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, dude. Charlie XCX, I'd like to work with her. She'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, I could see.
I love me some pop queens, dude. I love pop music in general. It's just got a special place, right there. So
really, I thought you were shitting on it. I thought you said it was too simple.
No, I love it, dude. I mean, the thing is I love the simplicity of it, and sometimes it's just like beautiful garbage, dude. You know, it's just like you just like you found all the right things to make this song like out of here. You know, like
Yeah.
just to make a hit. That Kid Leroy Justin Bieber song. Have you heard that one?
I've been trying not to.
Dude, it's like 2 minutes and 5 seconds of pure, just like pop. It's perfect. It's like a perfectly recorded, mixed, produced, written song. It's so perfect, and it just like blows me away. And it's not like there's not artistry that goes into it. I'm not trying to say that at all. You know, I think there's a ton of artistry that goes into some of these songs that are like pop masterpieces.
Yeah.
But because they're so consumable by like the general population, they kind of get a bad rap. Like, you know, this is, oh, you like Justin Bieber or whatever, dude. Like, he's just like a pop star, whatever. But like, it's like there's so many writers and producers working on these huge songs that you've got to just, at least as a producer, sit back and go, damn, like these people make gold, you know?
Yeah, I feel that. So what's next for BoatHouse? Any up and coming things you're excited to announce, or?
The Def C project, you know, look out for that as we kind of start rolling that out. It's still in the works. Another In Velvet, that series is going to keep coming. And I think that's pretty much it, man. It's just a lot of just making beats all the time, dude. Something else is going to come up that I had no idea that I would even need to announce it, you know?
Hell yeah. That's
Yeah.
dope. You got a little bit of like Seattle ties. Fucking Alex Wiley lives in Seattle now too, and you work with
That's
JB.
right.
There you go.
Dude, I love Seattle, man. Seattle's great.
Come out here. We need some more. Well, we don't need more producers, but we'd love to have some guest producers out here for sure.
Yeah, man. Next time I'm in the city, I'm gonna hit you up for
Yes,
sure.
sir. What is the easiest way for people to reach you?
_ BoatHouse on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. Shoot me a message, you know, if you got to get in tune, and then just check in with the music on all streaming platforms, man. It's all there. BoatHouse.
There we go. This is the NAST podcast with
BoatHouse, baby.
Pew pew pew.